Now here's your least favorite part. I'm gonna have to say nice things about you. So cover your ears.
Okay.
Dr. David Thomason is the executive director of the Kozmetsky Center. He is the most practical professor or academic I have ever interacted with. He is the professor you dream that you will have, the one who could summon up the magical internship you tell your parents you're going to get and is of dubious existence. He is a former kayak shop owner, lobbyist, Senate staffer, and a current fisherman and skier. I think that's the best intro we could have possibly given.
Great.
So you are from small town Texas.
I am. Yes.
How did that shape you?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm still a small town guy. I mean, I really believe that is the best part of growing up was being in a small town. In fact, my friend lived outside of town. I lived right on the edge of town, and he always called me a city slicker. He's like, I'm a country boy, you're a city slicker. And we got in a fight over it. We literally got in a fist fight over who was more country, him or me. And I really think that I'm still more country, even though technically he lived outside of town. And I don't see him as a country boy as much as I was.
Does he still live there?
No, he doesn't. He lives somewhere in Central Texas now. But I grew up in the Panhandle, out south of Amarillo.
You guys have the Cadillac, isn't it the
Cadillac Ranch?
Yeah, tell me about
we
that.
We did, yeah.
It's the only thing I know
That's
about.
That's on I-40.
Okay.
And that's probably the biggest tourist stop in Amarillo.
The only?
Powder Canyon.
Do you guys have a Buc-ee's?
Which is Canyon. They do now. Amarillo does now. But there was a writer, Louis Grizzard.
Okay.
He was a columnist, and he pulled over in Amarillo one time to check out the Cadillac Ranch, and his car got stolen or something in his car. Like either the car was stolen, because you have to walk out in a field to go to the Cadillac Ranch. It's Cadillacs that are all like angled, like it's very much like a kind of a reflection on American culture, and it's whatever you want it to be. Like it's nostalgic. It's on Route 66. But his car got stolen, so he wrote a whole column about, I went to the Cadillac Ranch and my car got stolen or it got broken into or something. But he could see them breaking into it, but he couldn't get over there fast enough because they were taking it or stealing. I can't remember if it was stolen or if they stole something out. But anyway, that's Cadillac Ranch.
That's the atmosphere.
Yeah, that's Cadillac. Great. That's just West Texas for you.
Yeah, a friend of mine used to tell a story about there was there were all these cans in the middle of the road, and people started showing up on the highway, and they had nails in their tires. Like, what was going on? And they found out years later that the guy who owned the local car repair shop had been putting tomato juice cans full of nails and throwing them on the highway.
Terrible.
To get people to get a flat tire and have to come off and buy his stuff.
Well,
I was like, that sounds like the kind of stuff I would pull if I lived.
That's entrepreneurial.
Yeah, that's right. That's entrepreneurship. The problem.
I'm not sure it's ethical entrepreneurship.
That's right.
But it's entrepreneurship.
I think and I don't think a PhD in philosophy may aid us in these.
That's
and
true.
I'm studying
Good.
this one.
That's very right.
So how does somebody from Amarillo become a doctor
Canyon.
of anything?
No, I'm from Canyon.
From Canyon?
Yeah.
3%? How many people?
Just make that clear distinction.
How many people are in Canyon?
About 14,000. 14,000.
I thought you were gonna say about 14. I was gonna.
No, it's bigger than that. We're bigger than that. That's why
right.
I was called City Slicker.
That's right. Oh, I can't believe.
Yeah,
it.
City
My
Slicker.
God. So
Yeah.
and so you mentioned a little bit before we hopped on what your father did for work, and he worked at West Texas A&M.
He did. Yeah, he was a plant science agronomist, genetics. He grew up outside on a farm in Wellington, Texas, and cotton, cattle, all that, and was in the Army, was in the chemical corps, and actually the Army paid for his PhD. So he went to Colorado State, came back, went to West Texas, and was a professor there for 35 years. So I had a greenhouse. I worked in the greenhouses a lot. And, my dad and I were really, really close. So, yep. That was my dad's career.
It was because of him you went to West Texas A&M?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Canyon. Actually, the reason that I went to WT is I actually was not planning on going to WT.
Okay.
I actually had originally planned on playing basketball in college,
What position you play?
point guard. And there were a couple of schools that I was really thinking about going to, and I had scholarship offers. And I ended up going to a school in Arkansas, Harding University, for a year, where they didn't offer me a scholarship at a walk-on. But I got there and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to play basketball. So I ended up playing golf. I played golf. I played golf at Harding.
Did they give you a scholarship for that?
I did get money. Yeah, I did. And then I started, I came back to WT. I came back for the summer and I started dating this girl, and she is going WT. So I ended up staying for a girl and ended up marrying her.
So I was going to say her name
And I
is
ended
Ashley.
up staying with her.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Hanging
yeah.
out with her despite that. My
Yeah.
gosh.
So it's all because of a girl that I stayed at WT. That's now my wife. So
That's a pretty great story.
yeah, that's it. And we were going to go to UT. In fact, we were going to transfer to UT. And I was kind of actually going through my stuff this weekend, kind of clearing out files. And I found my admission letter to UT in like 1989 or something.
Wow.
And yeah, we were going to go to UT, but we ended up staying here at WT, which is where we stay. But we always wanted to come to Austin. Both of us wanted to live in Austin.
So did you plan on immediately getting your master's after that?
No, I was going to go to law school. I mean, my goal was to go to law school. In fact, I got into UT Law School too.
Sure. That's a damn good law school.
It is good. Yeah, it is good. But I changed my view of things when I was a junior, and almost the last semester of my junior year, I took political theory from Professor Jackson, Dick Jackson. And he was an incredible professor, one of the best, like role models, just incredible thinker. And it changed how kind of I wanted to look at the law, look at the world, the view of government, the role that institutions play. And it changed my direction. And I still had an interest in law school, but not as a career, not as an attorney. But yeah.
This one guy and his course had that impact.
It really did. I mean, it really changed because I had not thought about a lot of the ideas that he was bringing up in ways that it got me thinking. Like after class, I would be thinking about it all the time. I'd go to his office. He would just pull out a book. He would go, I'd say, Professor Jackson, I'm not sure about this. We talked about it in class. Why should the law not tell us what's the moral thing to do? And he wouldn't even say anything. He'd just like reach behind him, just grab a book off a shelf and just hand me this book. And it would be like Machiavelli's Discourses. And I would go, okay. He'd say, read that and come back and talk to me. So I would read it. I would go and I would like read this book, and then I'd go back in his office. I'm sure he's like, why is this kid continuing to come back in my office every like week or two? But he got me thinking about it all the time.
Do you ever stay in touch with him?
I do, yeah. He's still alive. His wife passed away, and I haven't talked to him in a year or two, but I do stay in touch with him. And he's a very influential person in my life.
Yeah. So, finish at West Texas.
Mm-hmm.
The natural next place to do, especially when you're hanging out with somebody who you're going to marry, is to then immediately go to a total another state to go to college.
That's right. Yep.
So how did that come about?
We got married.
Okay.
And then we moved. And I went to the University of Missouri in Columbia, and that's actually where Professor Jackson went to school.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that why you went there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I actually had 3 professors at WT that were graduates of the University of Missouri. Mm-hmm. And I knew that they were really top notch. Like WT's political science program, West Texas A&M's political science was really good. I mean, they were all thinkers, and there was another professor, Dr. Stevens. He was a public administration, public policy professor, very practical, like a lot of what I do now. is influenced by him. He placed so many city managers. There's hundreds of city managers in Texas that are from his program.
Really?
Yeah, very successful program. Another professor, Dr. Calvi, Jim Calvi, he was a legal scholar, constitutional law. All of them went to Mizzou. So when I went to Mizzou, there was a professor there named Dr. Art Caliberg. And I got a fellowship. I got paid. I got actually all of graduate school paid for, just getting scholarships and fellowships. But Dr. Caliberg was a political philosopher and also was a big influence in my career. But yeah, I had a full intention of going to grad school and then getting my PhD.
So you knew that was what you wanted off the bat?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to be a professor. I wanted to be in a library and read Plato and de Tocqueville and John Locke and write papers about political philosophy.
So
that's what I wanted to do.
So to fast forward a little bit, you go to Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
and then I remember you worked at the legislature in Arizona.
Yeah, I did.
And when you were doing that, were you still getting your doctorate at the same time?
Yeah. I was working on my dissertation.
Okay.
That was, we had our daughter. That changes stuff. Whenever you have kids, it changes. And so that was right at the end of I'd already finished my coursework for my PhD, and I was right at the end, and we had our daughter, and again, I was a teaching assistant and a fellow, but it wasn't making much money.
Of course.
So I was also more interested in practical things at that time because I wanted to do theory, but I was also interested in testing out the theory. Is this really, truly how the world works?
Sure.
And I had gone straight into grad school. I worked for a campaign. I worked for Ann Richards' campaign, and I worked for a Congressman, Bill Sarpolis, back in the 90s. But I really had not immersed myself in full time in the world of policy and politics. So I was looking for jobs, and I found this job at the Arizona legislature where I was working on a lot of budgets and working with the legislature on crafting fiscal policy. And I did that while I was writing my dissertation. And that was tricky, actually.
Why?
It was a lot of time. I mean, the budget's very intense.
Right.
The budget process in Arizona is a joint committee. So it's the Senate and the House that works on it together. And our committee, and I was responsible for a lot of budgets that, hundreds of millions of dollars. At the same time, I'm trying to write my dissertation, and we just had a baby.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of juggling at that point.
There's
in
no
Arizona.
room for sleep within that
No,
equation.
but I was young then. I didn't need sleep. Who needs
That's right.
sleep?
You just got good friend Folgers.
It's like BC Boy said, no sleep till Brooklyn.
I could never imagine you in Brooklyn.
Yeah, no. Well,
You ever been to Brooklyn?
I've not been. I've not been to Brooklyn. You were born in Brooklyn?
I lived in Brooklyn for 16
That's right.
years before
Yeah,
I
see,
came to
that's-
this damn
Yeah,
town.
I don't know. That's City Slicker.
That's definitely city
City Slicker right
I
there.
may have family in Luling, but that's
All right. That's okay too. That's good
Get
too.
her done. We're back
Get her
in.
done.
Yeah, I think having experience in the political systems of multiple states is always kind of curious because
Yep.
Texas has such a peculiar state legislature, and we've got a state which in effect would be the 8th largest economy in the world, and our legislators meet once every 2 years.
Right. It's weird because you've got these massive amounts of money coming through, huge economy, and yet the legislature only meets because we're so anti-government in Texas. We don't want government to meet. The government, that which governs least governs best, would be the
Where's that
motto of
quote from?
Texans. I don't know, actually.
DT, David Thomason.
Yes, that's right. It isn't mine. That's not mine. I can't remember who it is now. Maybe Thomas Paine?
It's Thomas something.
Maybe. Thomas Son? Thomas Paine?
I like that guy. He's pretty cool.
I like that.
Yeah. So you finish up in Arizona working at the Ledge.
Right.
And then that's when you get your first teaching gig. Well, at least your first.
That's right.
Besides the one, I suppose you'd say at the Army school, I guess.
That's right. Well, the military school.
You're skipping over.
That's right.
In the back.
Yeah, the military school.
But, and that was at.
Kemper military.
Wait, class, we got to shout him out. Was it Harding?
Harding.
Harding? Okay.
Yeah.
How was that?
Harding is a beautiful campus.
Okay.
Harding is a great school. Oh my gosh, such a great school. The only problem with Harding for me was it just didn't pay enough. I mean, I'll be honest, it just didn't, at that time, I'm starting a family. It just didn't pay enough. I think if it had paid more, I would have stayed in Arkansas. I mean, the students were great. The faculty was great. The environment was just really, it's a very close knit, tight school. Kids lived on campus. Professors were all like really close. I mean, it was great, but didn't pay enough. So we'd always wanted, like I said, we always wanted to live in Texas, come back to Texas and come to Austin. We always wanted to live in Austin. So I started looking at jobs in the legislature.
And which you came to the Senate.
I did. Yep, with the lieutenant governor's office.
Yeah, but as I recall, you came to the Senate right at the end of Bob Bullock's reign.
That's right.
And so you have a new lieutenant governor.
Yep.
After this,
right.
And it was either a year or less than a year after Bullock left, because he gets out in '99.
That's right. Right then, right at that time.
And you came in in '99.
I did.
So how was that experience? What was the Senate like then?
Collegial. It was still old school, I mean, it's still Texas first, still a Texas legislature. We weren't trying to model ourselves after DC. We weren't offices. I mean, some of the offices, it felt like you're walking into like the show Mad Men. Like it seriously felt like that. There was one senator from Arlington that he had a full bar in his office. Like you'd walk in the office and it was like, you're basically like, come on in and, get you a drink there, Davy boy, get you a drink. Yeah, exactly. Like it was very much non-traditional, but traditional Texas. Yeah. And, I mean, hard-nosed, tough, some of the most tough people some of those senators were no nonsense. Like and they were very, very upfront about it. So you learned a lot about people, but a lot of over the politics. I mean, the Democrats at that time were still in control of the legislature. And so you have a lot of Democrats, all the Democrats chairing committees primarily, and working together, a lot of working together. George Bush was governor, was friends with Pete Laney, who was Speaker of the House at that time. So, I mean, there were a lot of non-party driven agendas, just trying to solve problems. And a lot of different, it was very different. It was very different.
Well, and I recall this too. I think this is an important note. Karl Rove gave a talk about a year ago because he worked at the state ledge. And one of the points of it was he was a Republican working for a Republican elected official who was chairing a committee, right? And now you will not see any Democrats chairing any of the committees right now. It's just the majority party. Right. And one of the things he lobbied for, or was talking about, he said, even if you have complete control over a committee, if to govern more effectively, sometimes it helps to have someone who is not from the ruling party, majority party, governing, because you get more cooperation in that way.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think kind of going back to that kind of interesting time in the Texas ledge before Texas became a Republican state and it was more Democratic is really kind of fascinating there. So you're coming into this new environment here in Texas, and your connections, which you have all back in Arizona in the political sphere, but you have some, I guess, because you're working on campaigns.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because I'm from Texas, so
right. So how did you begin to build your reputation at the Capitol?
Well, I will say that takes a long time. And I had a real good mentor who helped me with connecting across lots of different groups and people. His name's Phil Cates.
How'd you meet him?
He was a WT alum. He went to WT and he was a state rep. And I had met him before I came in. He's real involved in a lot of the things at WT and was real successful in the political world, had his own lobby firm here in Austin. And, I didn't know a lot of people at that time, but I was trying, but mainly I was just trying to do my job. I just wanted to do the right thing and do a good job in the office, and people were coming in, and I was meeting people and getting to know different groups. But Phil was really great about kind of taking me in and showing me a lot of things that I would have never had the experience.
Like what?
Well, like getting to know a lot of old time Texas leaders. He used to take me to breakfast at Cisco's in the back room on Fridays. There was this group that used to meet, and they were all the like old school Texas, either state elected officials or lobbyists or both. And just really a lot of these really long time people that were influencing Texas. And I got to hear their stories and got to meet them. And it for me, it was a big deal. For them, it was just some kid in a room. But for me, it was a big deal because
Right.
I got to meet a lot of these people. And it helped me think about how important it is to bring in younger people first, because they were so nice about letting me sit in there and hear their war stories, basically. But also to think about what is the right thing to do. And my friend Phil had a phrase that he gave me, this thing that went over my desk forever. And it was, the main thing is to keep the main thing, the main thing. And that's Phil, like that.
Sure.
And that kind of sums up that whole generation of people that, let's just focus on what's the right thing to do and keep moving towards that thing. The main thing is to keep the main thing, the main thing. So I learned a lot from Phil, even when it sounded like the most simple thing. So yeah, I mean, I could talk on and on about Phil Cates.
Yeah. I think I look at a lot of the old timey mentors who I've had and some of the way that they
Am I an old timey now? I guess I'm old timey.
You're not that old.
Okay, well, I'm getting old timey.
We've
I'm getting there.
give it 20, and
Okay.
then we'll be
All
really
right.
old
Okay.
timey.
Thank you.
You'll still be fishing, so you'll.
I'm
be all
still-
right.
I'm
You're
still
gonna
gonna
stay
be
strapped, fish and skin. Get it done.
I will, and guitar.
I think and get with the harmonica.
Yes.
I think it's really funny how a lot of the great quotes you remember or the things that stick with you that you learn are oftentimes really simple. And they're remarkably basic phrases or ideas that you just like say in your head over and over again. And so, especially, and sometimes they make you laugh because you're like, this is so stupid. What the hell is this?
Oh yeah.
But it's very powerful.
Oh,
to
yeah.
remember these sorts of things.
Oh yeah.
So how did you go from being a staffer to becoming a
A
lobbyist?
lobbyist. Well, one of the groups that came into the office was a healthcare group, and they were working on a big issue. And they would come in and meet with me, and I met with all the different groups on that issue. And they just kept standing out as a group I really liked.
Why?
They had a good focus. They were focused on nonprofit healthcare. They really seemed genuine about what they were doing. They weren't just telling me facts or just creating a narrative that whether it fit facts or not. And they just continued to kind of be a group that I was interested in. And so they had a position as a government relations person. They were a group that was all over the state. Several hundred groups were in their sort of association.
Right.
And it came open, and so I ended up getting that job with them.
And what did that job look like?
It was kind of like a startup in a lot of ways. I mean, there were lots of things they had done in the past that were really great, and there were things that were moving forward. Not to say that they weren't good in the past, because they were, but there were a lot of things that were just changing. Like the internet was just kind of coming on, so there were a lot of grassroots tools that they hadn't really utilized yet. There were a lot of coalitions that were forming at that time around healthcare that we were able to get positioned to become part of a bigger push towards lots of healthcare changes in the state. Healthcare at that time was moving forward. I mean, that was pre-Obama. I mean, that's right when George Bush became president. So there was no Obamacare. There was a lot of changes in healthcare in the early 2000s that we were part of, and I was able to work on lots of different pieces on the state level, and then ultimately on the national level on some of the things in the Affordable Care Act.
So from a personal perspective, you supported the issues or were interested in the issues they were working
Definitely.
on, right?
I had no moral issues with what I did every day. I felt like what we were doing was the right thing, and I felt good about what we were doing, and I wasn't afraid to call out when I felt like other groups weren't correctly identifying the issue.
Yeah, this is kind of a tough question, but have you ever taken on someone where you didn't feel that way?
Not really, no. I mean, there were some groups that I didn't feel like. Well, like I had Hulu and Disney were two groups that ended up getting contracts with to work on local issues, and they were more related to taxing and how streaming services are different from cable services, and some work on that on the local level. It wasn't. I never felt statewide.
Okay, got it.
Across the state and small communities and cities too. But I mean, I never felt like that was.
You're like,
I didn't feel like that was an unethical thing. It was just not necessarily. It was just a taxing issue. So
not something.
no,
you're
I never
passionate
felt. No, I've never. I mean, I will say I would never have taken on certain kinds of clients. And if they didn't have, and there were several that I just didn't feel right about. So
what are the kinds of things that would make you turn somebody down?
I would definitely not support and anyone that would risk health risks of people. I would not take a client that their product or their actions would have negative health consequences for someone.
Right.
I just don't think that's right. And that would be one.
Right. And then it's not to say nobody should represent them. Of course, somebody will.
Right.
Yeah, but it's interesting.
But I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the some of my friends in the political space have warned me, and also from a kind of a sales perspective.
Yeah.
If you're a lobbyist, you're doing a lot of selling. You're like, hey, here's the issue I'm representing. Here's why it matters. Here's why you should be with me on the issue. And if you don't believe in what you're selling, nobody's going to buy it.
That's right.
That's what Lyndon Johnson used to say.
Hey, I mean, the master of sales right there. He had all the techniques down. So, I mean, lobbying is sales. And one of the things that I just really, it was hard for me, but also I was good at it, is the door-to-door sales stuff. Like a lot of lobbying is just door-to-door sales, cold calls.
Really?
And I'm pretty good at that, but I didn't really like it.
Why not?
I didn't like door-to-door sales. It's just tiring. You're having to deal with people that either have no interest in what you're talking about, or they've already made up their mind on something, or they're looking for what is in there, what's in it for them. And I'm not saying that's bad, because that's politics. I mean, the most important part of politics is self-interest, but it's just tiring. And I'm just door-to-door sales. I just don't want to do it. I didn't want to do it anymore.
Right.
It got tiring.
And so you got to a certain point where you began, instead of being just representing the one client, you represented a bigger batch. Yeah. What was that transition like?
So it was good. So I'll give you an example. Sure. So this is an example of how door-to-door sales was actually fun, and we made it fun. So this is Phil Cates.
Okay.
So Phil, there was a group called the Texas Paint Council, and the Texas Paint Council, which represents a variety of different paint companies, and Phil had this brilliant idea. This is Phil's idea. So what we did is we went around door to door, and we took paint cans and filled them. We put the label on the paint can, Texas Paint Council. It was a white label that was around the paint can. It said the Texas Paint Council, and it filled in the paint can were Tootsie Rolls. So every office we'd just take around and bring a bucket of Tootsie Rolls, and then we'd just go around and fill them up. So if you needed it filled up, hey, how's it going? Y'all need more Tootsie Rolls? They would call. Can we get more Tootsie Rolls? That's good sales.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're not selling the paint council, you're selling Tootsie Rolls, but you're selling access. And a big part of lobbying, if not the most part of lobbying, is getting access to these offices, whether it's through the camaraderie, the friendships, the campaign contributions, whatever those are. And that little paint can gave access, enormous amount of access. And that's Phil Cates. Phil Cates was brilliant. And that was his brilliant idea.
Yeah. Find a way to sell something.
And that was
by
fun.
Not selling it. Yeah.
And I did that too, like with another thing where I went door to door, where I'd bring my assistant with me. And we, in the first few weeks of the session, when it was everybody's having fun, everybody's getting in their offices, we would take this clipboard and be very serious about it. And we'd say, we're here because we're checking whether each office is for or against the breakfast taco. Are you for or against the breakfast taco, Aidan? And they would, right? But some would get nervous because they were like, they didn't want to commit. Because in a lot of these offices, they're afraid of committing anything up front. They're like, well, I'm not really sure where we are on this issue. Okay, well, do you mind going to get the legislator? Oh yeah, sure, we'll go. So they bring out like Senator so and so, and they would come out and they would say, what is this? Are y'all for or against the breakfast taco? And a lot of them would get it. They'd get the joke and they start laughing. Come with us to the next office. So then we would create this like generated ridiculousness. It's like a Monty Python skit.
They go,
we go to the next office, and the next office, like generating ridiculousness. And that's another way to get in an office.
Yeah, and I actually remember that issue, if I may bring it up. Weren't you representing a breakfast taco consortium to become the official breakfast food of Texas?
Yes.
And didn't you have to fight against, like, I imagine
cereal,
the cereal and the pancake consortium?
Yeah, the waffles, cereal, pancakes, like eggs and bacon. They're not happy. Consortium. The eggs and bacon people, watch out for them.
One of my favorite thoughts from the legislative process and lobbying class is that you can have an interest group for just about anything. Everybody's got an interest group. And it's just like you can look up the toy makers interest group and you'll have the wood toy makers interest group. You'll have the polyester one.
Toy.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You'll have one for every one of them. You'll have the Tootsie Roll interest group. The chocolate bar.
Yeah.
I guarantee if we look it up right now, and there's then a really funny one I looked at the other day is the hemp and the marijuana interest groups, because you've got an interest group for every little one of them. Like, well, we only use the hemp for construction materials and hempcrete. And I was like, what the hell is going on?
They're blowing a lot of smoke over there.
Oh, every single one of them must be drawing some big contracts with somebody. And so that was always something I really laughed at when we were taking that class.
I'll tell you, like, I was in my American government class, teaching American government, and that's always say there's an interest for everything.
Sure.
So I'll throw out, tell me an issue like that. Okay, look it up. Boom. There's an interest group for that. Boom. And these two guys are in the back and they're like laughing or something. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? Are y'all like, I'm thinking they're gonna say like, oh, y'all got a good one? You got a good one back there? And I was like, what are y'all like? No, we don't want to. I'm like, no, go ahead. Say which one are they like? This is the dumbest thing we've ever done in our life. That's what they said. I'm like, oh yeah? Well, you don't have to do it anymore. It's one of the only times I've ever kicked people out of class. I booted those guys out of class. Goodbye.
Did you really?
A big boot. They got the boot. Got that right there. That's country boy.
Why would they say that right though in the class? Boy. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like
dude?
You're not. The world you live in doesn't allow you in a meeting to voice whatever stream of consciousness you have. So they were gone. Goodbye.
It's like a Chris Sale strikeout.
Yeah, we gone. So
I love that. Mm-hmm. That's what I always remembered. Your classes were always really fun because, we'd come up with these creative ways to address issues, and we have the zoo to talk about the legislature. That's right. And all these other
that's right.
Simple analogies that are memorable to represent complicated dynamics, such as our legislative system, which is inherently very inaccessible to anybody who's not an expert on it.
That's a good point.
So at the same time as you're working quite a bit at the legislature, you also owned a boat shop. Would you tell us a little bit about how you were doing that and being a parent at the same time?
All right, well, I gotta be honest. Like, our kayak shop was, other than starting the Kozmetsky Center's new iteration, that was the most exciting thing I've ever done professionally.
Is the kayak shop?
Oh yeah. Because, I love fly fishing. I love being on the water. And I bought a kayak through a guy, and it was somehow I had this conversation with him, and I'm like, hey, maybe I could buy one of these, an extra one, and see if somebody would want one. So I bought it, and then I put it on like Craigslist or something, and it sold like in 5 minutes. It sold. I'm like, So then I bought 2 more from this guy, and then I started thinking like, well, where's this guy getting his kayaks? So I ended up finding where he got the manufacturer of the kayak, and I called the manufacturer, and I ended up buying like 10 of them or something from them. And we had them all in our garage at first. And then I started figuring out, wait, there's all these kayak companies, and I started making contacts with them. And then it started like 2, 4, 10, 20. And then we started building up where we were basically selling 5 different brands of kayaks. We rented, we got too big for the garage, so we ended up getting a shop right here next to St. Ed's.
Yeah.
And we were selling, I don't know, 10,000 boats a year, and they were both in town and on the internet. And it became like it was buying the product, but also understanding the shipping world and how shipping operates. Because a kayak is a weird thing when you ship, because a lot of shipping companies will want to put them in a classification that's extremely costly to ship.
Sure.
So it became a negotiating thing. So I was using negotiation with shipping companies.
Yeah.
Negotiating with the freight terminals and the local managers.
Right.
Some liked me, some didn't like me. And then working nationally and internationally, we were shipping kayaks in from France. Where there was a big kayak company in Europe that we were buying one of the largest, probably the largest kayak company in Europe, that were shipping over here, and we were having to figure out all these international trade issues and bringing in containers and the dock, and it was awesome. Then it's just dealing with people that were cool and like love being on the water and love fishing. I had fly rods in there and tents, and it was great.
Right. And how did your wife feel when you started stacking the garage full of boats?
I mean, she's cool. My wife's cool. So, she grew up in a family that they had businesses. Her dad and her family had lumber yards, and they had cotton gins. I mean, her family is very much like own their own businesses.
Right.
Her dad is a builder and has his own building company, had it forever, built, really nice custom homes. So, I mean, they're used to the world of business. Her sister, my wife's sister, has her own business in Katy, Texas. Lifetime of clicks. Photography business. Lifetime of clicks. Best one in Katy. Best one in Houston. Go see her. Kate.
This is sponsored by Lifetime of Clicks?
Kelly Richmond.
.net.
She's the best. Kelly's the best. But, she was cool about it. So,
sure.
And my wife is my wife, I always call her my accountant, because she literally is my accountant. Like, she knows how to organize things. I'll drive it forward, and she's like, let's figure that out, like logistically. So it was a partnership, and my kids grew up in the kayak shop. I mean, they had so many experiences with people all over. And I hired students from St. Ed's, a lot of students I brought in because we're only just a block away from campus.
Right.
So we were able to, kids would come over, and I ended up getting several students at first, and then a lot of really good students that worked there over the years. Yeah, it was awesome.
That's super
But
fun.
the kayak business kind of had its day, Sure. A lot of big box retailers, Cabela's, Academy, Bass Pro, all these places started ramping up their kayak business, and so it had its day, and that's how it is, and that's business.
Yeah, and that was you were doing a lot of e-commerce early in the
built websites,
right, which of course got to be a very competitive marketplace very quickly. So it's like
had Amazon, and the early part of Amazon business where you could have your own site through Amazon, like your own small business site, and sell through Amazon your products.
Interesting.
And we sold all kinds of stuff through Amazon.
That's super funny.
It's wild, isn't it?
Interacting with the early stage of that. Okay, so moving forward a little bit, you come to St. Ed's.
Mm-hmm.
Now, were you hiring these St. Ed students before you were a professor here?
Yeah. I was always, I mean, I would drive by St. Ed's all the time and see how cool this campus was. And I was on campus a little bit with those students. Like I'd go to basketball games, or
Sure, hang
my
out.
kids would go to basketball camp or go to a baseball game or something. Yeah, I would just come up, not really as part of St. Ed's campus. But I had a PhD in political philosophy, so I actually had reached out to Dr. Smith, Brian Smith, when I was lobbying that I'd be interested in teaching a class or two. And he and I met, and actually he offered me a couple of classes to teach, but at that time they were in the morning and I couldn't do it. It would have had to be a night class.
Of course.
So I had given a talk at UT on some advocacy training, and there was a professor here who was the director of a program. His name was Bob Strong, and he said, "Hey, have you ever thought about teaching?" And it was right at the time when I was starting my own lobby business. The kayak business was kind of tailing. I'm like, sure, I definitely would be interested. So I taught one class at St. Ed's. It was American Dilemmas. And then and during that semester, someone had an illness, and he said, "Can you take another class?" I was like, "Sure, I'll take two." And I loved it. I thought it was philosophy. It was American Dilemmas was a really cool class. And then there was a visiting professor's position in political science. And so I applied for it and I got it. And then I just went from an adjunct to visiting professor to becoming a full-time professor, and then tenure, and now Kozmetsky Center director.
So at what year did they give you the keys to Kozmetsky?
That was in 2023.
That was not a long time ago.
No.
And what was the
2 years ago.
Kozmetsky Center before you were in charge?
It was great. The Kozmetsky Center was focused internationally, and the director she's a friend of mine, Dr. Cross, did a great job promoting and bringing in some of the biggest names in international affairs. She's a world-renowned scholar and practitioner in international relations. We're really lucky to have her on faculty here. She teaches a class in geopolitical risk, international relations. She's a world-renowned scholar and practitioner. So the focus was international. So it changed.
Yeah, you had a different vision. How did that come about?
And it just changed, I think, with President Fuentes, who's president of St. Ed's. One of her focus when she came in is let's focus on local and community and what's around us. What is the Austin community, and how can we establish ourselves as the most relevant part of the local community for academia. And that fit well with the civics lab that I had started a few years before that. So we had done some things with President Fuentes and with some of the leadership. Our Dean Campbell, who is the behavioral social sciences dean, had been working with us in the civics lab on very practical things on the local level. And I had actually left St. Ed's for a year on a sabbatical to work back in politics, to lobby and to work on all kinds of issues. And the position, the direction of the Kozmetsky Center was changing. And so they called me and asked me if I was interested in coming back and heading up the center for more civic engagement and local democratic participation. And so it was exactly what I've wanted to do for a long, long time. And so that's where it changed.
There's been, you've done so much so quickly with Kozmetsky, and part of me just wonders how it's possible for you to be able to be so entrepreneurial in, and in a place higher academics, which is something that's traditionally viewed as more stodgy, right? As slow moving. And within a span of 2 years, you've totally changed the physical manifestation of the center. We have this lovely building right smack dab in the middle of campus, which is incredible. People gather here all the time. You have multiple events a month, basically one a week, which is crazy. How did you do it?
I mean, it just takes a lot of people. It takes understanding that you've got a vision of what you want it to look like, but also knowing that there's lots of people here that have that same vision of what they want St. Ed's to represent for the community, that it's a hub of activity for Austin. And the vision that I had for Kozmetsky is that we're the civic hub of campus, of the local Austin community, and then statewide. And that's a vision that's shared by the campus.
Right.
And so, it's nothing is easy. And anything that's worth doing is going to take some challenges. But I think over the course of the last 2 years, I think people care a whole lot here at St. Ed's about having our student body, our faculty, our staff, and it's all together. I mean, we're all together on this about how can we make Austin better? How can we solve problems? How can we solve things in Texas? How can we help to be solution driven nationally on issues?
Right.
And we can wade into controversial spaces because we're not partisan. We're not trying to promote a political agenda. We're just trying to bring people together to think together and solve together. And we need space for that.
Right.
So the building that I really felt like was the best place for that is one of the oldest buildings on campus, which is the Carriage House, which we're in now. And it's one of the oldest buildings on campus.
Oh yeah.
And it was not fully utilized. We had opportunity here to make this. It's right in the middle of campus.
Oh, yeah.
So, location.
It's like you're playing Monopoly with a bunch of people who keep passing Boardwalk. And you're just like,
that's right.
hey, y'all know that you can buy this one if you want.
And it just sits.
Right.
And I mean, you need space. Public space is so important.
Right.
When we want to have conversations. I mean, I think go back to the pandemic when people were all isolated and we needed to be together, but we couldn't be together. So people found ways to kind of establish social activities even when they had to be separated from each other. And human beings, Aristotle says we're by nature social animals. We are social animals. We want to be around other people. So we need spaces where people can get together, have conversations with each other, and just be freaking creative.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's like a lab. It's an experiment. Democracy and social relationships are experiments. We need spaces on campuses nationally where people feel like they can come together and experiment with things and not be penalized for something that they're not fully developed. Be able to say something in a public space that you're not really sure if that's the right thing or not. You just know, like, I'm experimenting with this. Let's talk about this and let's put it into action.
Right.
And that's the space that the Kozmetsky Center is.
Right.
We experiment. We're a lab. We're a social democratic experiment.
Well, I think you've been more than successful thus far, and there's so much exciting stuff coming up in the next year.
Oh, I'm stoked.
We're gonna have a fun time.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I just feel like we just hit the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, yeah.
We just opened this in the fall. Like in September, we've only been open in this space for 3 months, but I already feel like we've had an impact. I've already feel like we've had an impact on the campus, but we're only 3 months in. Like, think about what this space can be in 3 years. Think about what it can be in 30 years when I'm not around. When this space has longevity, I don't want this. This is a space for current and future experiments, whether I'm in this space or whoever comes next.
Right.
Like we have a space now, and think about the impact that can have.
I will say as a closing remark that it is very hard for me to imagine the civics lab or Kozmetsky without Dr. David Thomason.
Well, that's nice. And I certainly am with you because I want to stay around a little while. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. Well, I don't know. Maybe I am, but I mean, not by choice.
That's right.
And
kicking and screaming.
That's right. Yes. But I mean, like anything that's good, it should outlast the people that founded it or started that thing. And I'm certainly not the founder of the Kozmetsky Center. We have the Kozmetskys to thank for that. George Kozmetsky and Rania Kozmetsky, they are civic entrepreneurs. Like we are motivated by the very people that their names on the center. They motivate me. George Kozmetsky motivates me. He is an inspirational figure in the world of civics, business, and technology.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you guys. Thanks for all y'all do.
We look forward to it. Okay.
Right on.
Peace out.